Bonjour! In this video, we are dipping our toes into French pronunciation. If you're new here, my name is Angèle Preto. I'm a French learning coach for English speakers. It is my job to help people like you learn French fast and become fluent. So if you would like me to coach you personally, please check the description below. You will find all of the information about that. When it comes to French pronunciation, there are two important things to take into account. First, there is phonetics and then there is spellings, and I will give you the basics of both in this video. Phonetics is literally how it sounds. French has a lot of sounds that are not really in English or that are not used the same in English. And in my coaching program, the French Fluency Accelerator, we actually have a full workshop where I go deep into every single sound. You can actually even buy this workshop separately because it's so useful. So I've put it on my website. I'll just pop the link in the description below as well. The sound of French can be quite different from the sounds of English, so it's very useful to practice French sounds. By the way, here's a whole playlist with little pronunciation tutorials from me. Spelling French is yet a whole nother can of worm. As you probably know, French has a lot of silent letters and also sometimes uses several letters to make just one sound. That's because the spelling of French was formalized a few centuries ago, but the pronunciation has continued evolving. I am currently working on a full-length workshop about spelling, and that will be available to my French Fluency Accelerator students soon, so please stay tuned. In the meantime, let's look at some examples right here. You probably know that hello is in French bonjour, meaning good day. Bonjour is spelled with 7 letters, but only has 5 sounds, and no letter is silent. It's just that there are in this word 2 digrams. So digrams are often used to form nasal sounds, but not only. The first digram is ON, and that makes the nasal sound on, and the second digram is OU, and that's actually an oral vowel, which is OU. The letter J always sounds like J in French, so no D sound like in English. And the R at the end of bonjour is the most dreaded French sound, but you can practice that by just practicing saying r. It comes from your throat here. So practice saying it with me. R. The full word is bonjour. Then we have good evening, which is in French bonsoir. So same story, 7 letters, 5 sounds. We also have 2 digrams. We have the same ON that we already had in bonjour, and it's still on. And we have OI this time, and OI spells wa. The S in the middle of a word, if it's not between 2 vowels, will sound like s. And then we have the r that we still dread, but we can practice. So bonsoir. By now, you probably realized that bon means good in French, but here's a twist. Good night is bonne nuit. And please only say this if you're going to bed or the person you're talking to is going to bed. So we have bonne instead of bon because nuit is feminine. What's interesting here is that the nasal is gone. So the 2 N's sound like just one N, and we have just the sound O, bonne. The E at the end of bonne is silent, and we can know it is silent because it doesn't have an accent on it. The T at the end of nuit is also silent. It is very common for consonants at the end of French words to be silent. One notable exception is the R, which is generally not silent at the end of words. And you already know that because you know bonjour and bonsoir. UI is kind of like a digram because it sounds like oui, but it's just like the 2 letters together, right? So good night is bonne nuit. If you want to be polite in French, how do you address people? We will now learn how to pronounce 3 different honorifics, Madame, Mademoiselle, and Monsieur. In order to address someone with these honorifics, you first need to know their gender. In French, we only really acknowledge masculine and feminine gender, so if someone is non-binary or you're not sure of their gender, please refrain from using these words unless they have explicitly allowed you to. And if you want to find out more about how to address these kind of people respectfully in French and in English, I've made a video and I'll link it up here. So first, if you're addressing a woman, you can use Madame. This is the easiest pronunciation we will learn today. There is a silent E at the end. Both A's sound the same. In fact, almost all A's in French, which are not part of a digram, will sound like A. And the other letters sound like in English, so it's Madame. You might know that there is another female greeting, which is Mademoiselle. Traditionally, the word Mademoiselle was used to address unmarried women, but now we don't do this anymore because we find it a little bit outdated to refer to women by whether they are married or not. So please refrain from using Mademoiselle unless you're addressing a really, really young girl or a really, really young woman. It's still useful to learn about French pronunciation, so here we go. In Mademoiselle, you have the digram OI, which is the spelling for wa, which we learned a moment ago in bonsoir. You also have 2 silent E's, one in the end and one in the middle. And how can you know that the last E, the second E, is not silent and it sounds actually like A? Well, it's because it's followed by 2 L's. An E that's followed by a double consonant will always sound like A. And it's the open A. It's not like A, it's A. Opening your mouth. The E in the middle doesn't actually have to be silent. You could say Mademoiselle, but French people most likely will speak fast and gobble it up. 2 L's, as we see, make the same sound as 1 L, and 1 S, which is squeezed between 2 vowels, will make the sound Z. So altogether, it's Mademoiselle. And I kept the worst for last. Monsieur. Sometimes none of the things you can learn about French spelling and pronunciation can actually help you find out how a word is pronounced based on how it's spelled. The issue is that the spelling of French was fixed several centuries ago, and when millions of speakers use words hundreds of times a day, literally for centuries, those words tend to get deformed a little bit. So the spelling will only remind you of the etymology. Just like Madame means my lady, Monsieur means my sir, and you can kind of see that in the spelling, but not at all in the pronunciation. So the only way that you can really learn it is through phonetics, Monsieur. Fortunately, those words are really rare because it would take hundreds of millions of uses to deform a word to this point. So congratulations on surviving until now. If you like this way of learning using patterns and rules, make sure you subscribe to this channel because there is a lot more where that came from. Here is a playlist with many little pronunciation tutorials so that you can practice some more. And here are the 7 keys that you will need to use to become a fluent French speaker. I'll see you there.